a challenge in the month of January trying to record 5 15-minute videos per week. I definitely failed this past week. I think I did one video. But it's the start of a new week. It's Sunday. Hopefully we hit 5 this week. With that being said, today we're talking about the double-edged sword of group fitness and why it persists despite its flaws. This is also an article that I wrote. I posted it on LinkedIn first, then I shared it on Medium and a couple of other platforms. But basically, I just want to read this out loud to you and then kind of just give you any extra thoughts that pop up or clarifications that I feel are needed after each paragraph or after I read each thing. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. It's important for you to know that I am talking about group fitness classes. So I'm not talking about a group like, semi-private training, like 5 to 8 people or 2 to 8 people. I'm more referring to group classes where there's one instructor, there's 20 to 35 people in the classroom, and there is a multitude of different movement patterns going on. So we're talking Orange Theory, where there's running and rowing, both which require a certain level of skill, where intensity is encouraged and going as hard as you can is encouraged, and trying to get your heart rate up gives you points, and you're competing with others, so you have more incentive to push even harder on these things that are skill-based movements. And then we also have resistance, or let's just say dumbbells or barbells or other forms of load included in the class, executing certain movement patterns that may not be accessible to most beginners in the gym, or most people in general who just jump into fitness, whether you've been doing it for 5 years, building on top of a shitty foundation, or whether you are jumping into it, or you just recently got asked to go to group fitness, or your friend, you haven't worked out in years and your friend's like, hey, come to this group fitness class with me. I'm referring to like situations like this, group fitness classes, F45, Barry's Boot Camp, Orange Theory, things of that nature. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and read this. Group fitness classes and group coaching have become a cornerstone of the modern fitness industry. As someone who has experienced both sides of this phenomenon, I want to share my insights on why these programs simultaneously help but also hinder our fitness journeys. Okay, so boom. And to give my background, coached at F45 for like 2 years, not full-time, always did it part-time in tandem to my one-on-one private coaching sessions. And doing it in tandem with one-on-one private coaching sessions really made some of the things that I'm about to read through more relevant or prevalent, and helped me be like, oh shit, yeah, this is probably not ideal for like 75% of the people that are coming to this class every day. But with that being said, the undeniable appeal. So here are a few good things about group fitness, why most people are attracted to it, and even in some ways why I support it, right? Or the side of group fitness that I do support, and at least understand why people do it. Group fitness programs excel at getting people off their couches and into gyms when they might otherwise stay at home. The social environment makes fitness less intimidating for newcomers. Group classes also facilitate friendship formation and community building. One of the best aspects of group fitness is the amount of friends and socialization that goes on during, before, and after the classes. You can see the genuine joy that people have and excitement people have to see somebody in the morning and catch up on the things that happened the day before, in between class, during like the short rest periods, but really before and after class, right? People make genuine friendships. They go out to coffee after. Their kids meet each other's kids. So there's a genuine facilitation of friendship formation and community building that I think is really awesome when it comes to group fitness. The lower price point compared to private coaching makes fitness more accessible. One of the big issues and I guess internal challenges I've always had with my coaching is my business. Coaching is my way of making a living. That's one aspect. I love coaching. I want to continue to get better, so I need to continue to do continued education and continue learning till the day I die. That's another aspect. Number 3 is I really value my, continued education and my ability to develop the skill sets that are needed to become a great coach and actually help people achieve their goals. That takes work, that takes years, that takes continued education, that takes repetition, continued repetition, that takes internships, that takes volunteering for free, that takes shadowing, that takes a lot of time and energy. with that being said, and with it being said that it is my business and my way of making money, and I want to take care of my family with this business, it is not something cheap. I'm not going to charge somebody $10 for an hour of my time. I'm not going to charge somebody 20, 30, 40. I'm not charging people low cost for my service that I really invested thousands of dollars in, invest hours of time in, and really continue to try to develop my skill set in. I'm going to charge a premium because I value what I'm providing for others, and I believe that also others need to have some incentive, some buy-in to really, stick to a program and stay with it. If there's an investment, a significant investment somebody makes in their health and wellness versus if it's just free or someone's just offering something for free, there's a different level of attention and focus and commitment that comes along with it. I say all that to say that the internal dialogue or challenge I've had is I want to train and help people who, can't afford personal training. And trying to figure out how to do that at scale is rather challenging. You could say it's social media, but I do think that there is a need to be there in person with people. And one thing group fitness does do is it allows a low price point for people who may not make as much money to be able to get involved in fitness if they're not able to, currently get themselves outside or get themselves to a cheap gym to learn how to work out themselves, right? But built-in accountability through peer groups helps with consistency. I don't know if I would necessarily call it accountability, but knowing that you are about to do something with a group of people is much less daunting than, I gotta wake up at 6 a.m. tomorrow and go work out by my lonesome in a cold gym that's empty. Versus I'm gonna work out tomorrow at 6 a.m. with 30 other people, a few of my coworkers and friends I've made. It's much less daunting. Accountability, I don't know, because it's not like people are necessarily texting you like, hey, can't wait to see you tomorrow, or why weren't you here? Why aren't you here this morning? Why aren't you here? In some cases, maybe that's the case, and accountability is a whole other term that we could get into, but we'll leave for now. So those are the undeniable appeals of group fitness. Now, some of the hidden drawbacks, we're gonna kind of go through. I'm gonna title it, and then I'll go through it. So the cortisol trap. One of the most overlooked problems in group fitness is the creation of cortisol junkies. It's kind of crazy to say, but nonetheless, this happens when high intensity workouts are scheduled at suboptimal times, or early morning or late evenings. So long story short, all that means, dive into that a little bit. And if you've been following my content for a while, I've put up a few posts about it, but there's something called a cortisol curve where upon, waking up, your cortisol levels are higher, they're the boom. And then as the day goes on, they slowly come down, right? But if it's already high upon waking, then you go to a high intensity exercise class and you elevate it even more. And then there was no rest periods, there was no recovery during that group class, and you go straight into work and you have stress, and then it rises even more. And then you come home and your kids fucking made a mess at home, and you're on the go, and then it's still high. And then it's evening time, and maybe you go to another group fitness class or something to double up because you're trying to get, super locked in, which just happens a lot, which is why I'm using it as an example. And you go into more high intensity exercise, still no recovery, come home, eat some food and go to bed. Not ideal. Cortisol is just not doing well. Sleep's gonna be trashed. You're not gonna be feeling good. Hormones are gonna be thrown out of whack over time. But anyways, let's keep going. People become addicted to the high of intense workouts, and the reality is you do not need to do intense workouts every day. Matter of fact, those individuals who do intense workouts every single day typically have some negative feedback loops that are later down the line. Stress hormones are constantly elevated, leading to disrupted sleep patterns, impaired recovery, hormonal imbalances, and potential weight loss resistance. A lot of people who are already struggling with their metabolism due to, poor diet, stress, irregular exercise over the years, come into high intensity exercise hoping that it's going to fix that, but instead kind of just makes it worse, if that makes sense. So category number 2, metabolic mayhem. Many participants come to group fitness with already compromised metabolisms from years of poor diet, stress, yo-yo dieting, yo-yo exercising, things of that nature. The typical group fitness approach often makes this worse by, listen closely, programming excessive high-intensity circuit training. Okay, what is excessive high-intensity circuit training? Back-to-back exercises with very minimal rest periods for long periods of time. That is excessive. High-intensity exercise, so high-intensity interval training or circuit training, is typically not a 45, 60, or 45 to 60 minute exercise bout. They're typically 10 to 15, maybe 20-minute bouts with adequate rest periods given in between, each circuit. And so when you program an excessive amount of high-intensity circuit training, it can have some negative impacts on your metabolism. Not allowing for adequate recovery between sessions, same thing. Creating a cycle of stress that further slows metabolic function. The cycle of stress, there's eustress, there's distress. In this case, we would call this distress, which can slow metabolic function. Combining poor movement mechanics with metabolic conditioning, which compounds the negative effects. So wrong placement of that bullet point, because I wouldn't necessarily say that is connected to the metabolism, but what I would say is combining poor movement mechanics with high intensity training, lack of sleep, poor diet, a surge in cortisol when it's not supposed to be super high, all just lead to bad places. Because if you have poor sleep, your hormones are imbalanced, your energy's shot, your cortisol's high, and then you come in and combine all those things, so I guess it was good placement, with poor movement mechanics, meaning if your squat mechanics suck, or if your reverse lunges or step ups or box jumps or squat jumps or split squat jumps or medicine slam balls or ski ergs or rowing or running, if any of your movement mechanics are already shit and aren't getting enough attention to fix those mechanics because you're in a class with 30 other people who probably also have poor movement mechanics and there's only one coach, then it makes it difficult to avoid injury. Let's just put it that way, and put you in a much more likely situation to get injured during a workout. Safety informed concerns. The most pressing issue is the risk of injury. In group settings, proper form often takes a backseat to keeping up with the class. 100% truth. 100% truth. And if you're watching this right now and you participate in group fitness classes, you probably know that this is truth yourself. So, proper form often takes a backseat to keeping up with the class. Maybe you're different. And shout out to you if you're different. If you're aware of what correct form is, if you're genuinely concerned about correct form, and if you don't feel good, you're able to tell, like, that doesn't feel right, so I'm gonna stop and self-modify. Like, if you're that person, awesome. But most people coming to these classes are going to see everyone else hustling, pushing. They see they only got 10 seconds left. They hear the coach, push, go harder. And they're over here thinking about how they need to make fat loss gains and they need to get better and more healthy. And so they push through the pain, they push through bad movement mechanics, and then they end up getting injured. This is particularly problematic in strength-focused classes. Everyone's trying to implement strength into their group fitness classes nowadays. So when we add load to already poor mechanics, it's a disaster waiting to happen. And which I put in here, strength-focused classes, which have basically become aerobics with weights, because it's 45 seconds, 15 seconds lifting this weight, 20 seconds, 45 seconds, a minute, but then you only have 10 seconds rest to transition to the next station. You're not giving yourself adequate recovery to prepare for the next bout of strength training exercises. So then you go lower in weight so that you're able to manage keeping up cardiovascularly or aerobically throughout the class and be able to manage. And so you're not really actually improving strength because you're constantly adjusting loads, not actually progressively overloading over time. But anyways, that's another topic. True strength development is compromised and injury increases due to inadequate rest periods and lack of proper movement mechanics. The one size fits none problem. Category number 3. Group programs by necessity cannot provide the individualized attention each person needs. This leads to suboptimal training programs that don't address individual needs. The program at F45, Orange Theory, Barry's Bootcamp, it may be a great workout. It may be, in theory, programmed well in certain circumstances, but it is not individualized for you. It is for literally anybody and everybody who decides to sign up for the class, and that in itself should be a sign that it is not the safest, most ideal, most individualized program for you, your body mechanics, your body type, your current health status, your current age, all things above. It's not built for you. It's built for everybody, and when something's built for everybody, then it's built for no one. Poor movement patterns that become ingrained over time. Going back to the idea of if there's 30 people in class, it's going to be challenging for that coach, if they're even a great coach, to go around and address every single person in classes, movement mechanics, making sure they're smooth, making sure everyone in class has the right regression specifically for them, making sure everyone knows when to pull back and when to go forward. It's not ideal. It's not impossible, but nearly impossible. So poor movement patterns that become ingrained over time, plateaus that could have been avoided with proper programming. Facts. So sometimes people just hit weight. As soon as I started Orange Theory class, I lost 15 pounds in the first week, and then I didn't see any progress for the next 6 months. Plateaus that could have been avoided with proper programming, both from strength training, cardiovascular training, nutrition, lifestyle, due to all the improper programming around all of those things. The motivation mirage. I talk about the importance or the benefit of the motivating factor of going with people, and knowing that other people are going to be there. And there's a win in that. It gets people off the couch. I understand. But going from couch to red zone is not a good idea. What I mean is that you go from the couch, not doing anything for months, right into a super high intensity class. Perhaps the most insidious issue is the false sense of accomplishment that comes from group commiseration. You still accomplish something, so I'm being a little intense with my words. But nonetheless, while sharing the struggle with others feels good in the moment, it does, and it got you out of bed and got you in the gym, which is a win in a way, right? It also creates dependency on external motivation, which leads people, some people, to fall into a cycle of starting and stopping exercise programs, jumping from trend to trend without building sustainable routine, lose interest when the initial excitement wears off. Eventually, these classes become something you're used to, and you fall out of love with them. What happens? You stop going. Now you're on the search for a whole nother gym, you get busy with life, now you haven't been in the gym in 6 months, then a friend tells you about a different gym. You try it out. You go for a few months, but then your friend stops going, your other friend stops going, a new coach comes in, and you're like, not feeling the group, not feeling the coach, so you leave. Now you're back to yo-yo exercising. So that is the motivation mirage of group coaching or group classes. The metabolic double whammy: when you combine high intensity training, poor movement patterns, and compromised metabolisms, you create a perfect storm. The body's stress response is chronically elevated. Recovery becomes increasingly difficult. That's not good. Recovery is an extremely important, especially for 30, 40, 50 somethings who are trying to get back into fitness, who are managing super stressful jobs, still trying to develop in their career, have crazy ass teenagers. You get the idea. Recovery is essential. So, boom. Sleep quality suffers, especially with evening workouts. You know, when I was writing this, I was thinking about evening workouts, and I was like, well, the latest classes typically, are ending at 7:30. So I wouldn't call this the biggest issue, but I wouldn't recommend most people, if you have the ability to work out mid-morning, afternoon, always going to recommend that over extremely early in the morning, like first thing waking up, or later in the evening, 2 to 3 hours before bed is also not recommended. But if you can keep the further away from your bedtime you can get it, awesome. So sleep quality suffers. Metabolism slows further as a protective mechanism. So when we say weight loss resistance and your metabolism slowing down, you might be in a calorie deficit, but if your metabolism also slows down, now you're fighting an uphill battle, and your body's really just trying to protect itself and be like, hey, I'm just trying to protect myself. And you're like, no, why aren't you losing weight? And then you cut your calories even more, go to 2 high intensity classes, also yoga, also going on walks and runs, and it gets worse. results plateau or reverse, leading to frustration and program hopping. So all this happens, and then you get frustrated because you've plateaued, or you feel like you're doing everything right, but you're not making progress. You get frustrated, and essentially you quit or you try something new, and this keeps happening because you're not realizing the issue at hand. But listen, I told you guys what I liked about group fitness at the beginning, so group fitness will continue to endure because of those reasons. Despite these drawbacks, group fitness is not going anywhere. The combination of affordability, social connection, I have no issue with these being wins in group fitness, and I 100% agree. So if this is the reason you do it, and you don't give a fuck about what I'm saying right now, awesome. But affordability, social connection, built-in accountability creates a powerful draw that outweighs the downsides of group fitness for many people. And I get it. The economics simply make sense. You know, group classes will always be more affordable than one-on-one coaching forever and always. And that is just what it is. So the last thing, the conclusion of this video and of this article is finding balance. You know, fuck the word balance. It doesn't really exist in this life, but we'll just use the word. The key isn't necessarily to completely avoid group fitness. That is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying cancel your membership and stop going completely, but you do need to understand its limitations, which are some of the things I listed below or above, and then also we'll list right now, which I listed below here. So consider these things. Limiting high intensity sessions to 2 to 3 times per week maximum. I would say 1 to 2 times per week maximum, and filling in your other times with, you know, strength training on your own with adequate rest periods. You know, you don't have to be in the gym for a long ass time. Choose 4 to 5 movements: squat, lunge, push, pull, some planks. Train with intensity, train with focus, give yourself adequate rest periods, make sure you have proper form, things of all that nature. Go on walks, go hiking, spend time outside, fidget a little bit more, but high intensity sessions, maximum 3 times per week, ideally 1 to 2 times a week, in my opinion. Scheduling workouts during optimal times. Again, if you have the ability to go to the later morning class where you've already been up in the morning for 3 hours, getting your kids ready for school, doing everything you need to do, it's 3 hours into the day. It might be 7 a.m. You might have woke up at 4 a.m., but at least, a few hours later into your morning, then do that. If you can do even later in the morning, like 10, 11, do that. If you can do early afternoon, 12, 1, 2, also awesome. But do your best to avoid working out right before bed or near bedtime or right as soon as you wake up. Supplementing with proper strength training that includes adequate rest periods, already said that. Getting periodic form checks and programming from qualified coaches that build your routine in a way that's individualized for what's actually appropriate for you. Really, I know I'm definitely speaking from a biased point of view as a private coach, but I've also coached on the group coaching side of things, so I understand both sides. I'm just giving you my honest opinion. I'm not trying to get you to sign up and be my client, but if you want to and you saw benefit in this, feel free to hit me up. But outside of that, if there's other people that you genuinely trust online, which is a crazy world in itself and deserves another YouTube video with all the shitty ass online coaches and online fitness programs that are out there. There's some great ones, but if you're a beginner, if you know nothing about health and fitness, you know nothing about physiology, anatomy, then it's going to be hard for you to decipher whether somebody's actually a good coach or not, or whether a program's actually a good program or not. But if you have somebody in your corner, maybe your friend like me, somebody you trust or something like that, that didn't sound good. But if you trust me and you know me and you believe that I'm a qualified coach, then maybe you can run somebody else's program by me, whatever it might be. But build your routine in a way that's individualized for what's appropriate for you and where you're at in your life right now. And then focusing on recovery and sleep quality as much as the workouts themselves. Man, if you only understood how much recovery through nutrition, sleep, and other modalities like massages or meditation or like calming yoga are for your body, you do it more. But all I'm gonna say is you need to focus on it. At the end of the day, sustainable fitness success comes from building intrinsic motivation, having proper fundamentals around nutrition, sleep, recovery, but very much so your strength training and your movement patterns and your movement mechanics. Let's see. And understanding your body's needs, not just showing up to sweat with the group. Your body has specific needs. It's not identical with everyone else in the class. So if you can afford to hire a coach, or if you can afford to go to a physical therapist or get an assessment to give you more insight on what your body needs, that way you can tailor your group fitness coaching or tell your group fitness coach what you need when you come into class. That's better than nothing. And then what I wrote here, and it goes the same with the video, is I love you. Don't get mad. I'm happy you're moving. I'm happy you're sweating. And being proactive around your health and fitness. Just be mindful and aware of the quality of your coach and the gym. Reread this. Take the considerations into consideration. And keep moving, man. Keep moving. I'm not telling you to cancel your membership or stop going. Just giving you some new insight for you to make an educated decision as an adult for yourself. Outside of that, go have fun in your group coaching classes. I love y'all. Solid.